you being a woman, first of all, I know it was very hard for me to watch. And
Mm-hmm.
even myself, I have been a part of a DV situation. So I I felt, because in the very moment something like that happens, you don't even go in fight mode. You go into like protection mode just to cover yourself, to like,
Mm-hmm.
try to less damage as possible.
Right.
So how did you feel when you saw that video?
Um, well, before the video, I read her entire lawsuit. And while, I'm a writer, and so, and I'm also, as a writer, you read. That's our life. And so, if you read the entire document, it is painful to actually read and recount all the things that are laid out in that document. So, I would say my first um, response with this whole situation was to read that. And then, of course, working in the entertainment industry, for the last almost 20 years, I've been around Cassie and Diddy. I've seen her um, looking kind of like sometimes not herself. But when you remember those situations and then you read, and from her words, and from her team's words, what was going on, it was heartbreaking, it was sickening, it was disgusting. And then to actually see that play out, the visual was extremely hard to watch. I definitely did not, and unfortunately, it's everywhere. But I was talking to some other people in the industry, and they're like, it probably needs to be everywhere, because at this point, people really need to understand that this is not just, whenever something happens and a woman comes out and says something happened to her, specifically when it's a woman of color. There are usually so many people that want to discredit her story by saying, I saw people saying, what could she have done to elicit this? What happened before that? Or why did she stay? And all these things that people say are irrelevant to the situation. But when you see it actually happening, then you realize how asinine that is, to make statements like that. And so, for that reason, I am glad that we are able to see this. I definitely agree with James. This is, from a strategy point of view, this is not by coincidence. Her lawsuit was shared with the New York Post first. If you guys notice, those of us that follow entertainment, usually things are leaked by it may be People Magazine, it could be TMZ or something like that. But the fact that it was at the New York Post and the New York Times and those type of credible sources that have journalistic integrity and are going to do a lot of fact checking first and are known for being the highest level of authenticity and integrity when it comes to journalism, speaks a lot to how this is rolling out. And then when the tape was leaked to CNN, I was like, wow, this is setting up for a much, much bigger case. And also, just quite honestly, what people are not saying is there are so many people that were in the entertainment industry, like myself, that have heard this for years. Seeing it and hearing it are two very different things. But what makes me sick is that not only this happened to her, but there are so many people that knew about this. There are so many people that, were part of the rumor mill talking and gossiping and knew this was happening and did not come to this young woman's aid or any of the other victims in numerous cases. And so I think the entertainment industry has a culture that is extremely toxic. And I think this is kind of like a year of reckoning, if you will, for the entertainment industry specifically.
I